31st May is World No Tobacco Day, and this day is commemorated globally not only to raise awareness on the dangers of tobacco, but also to help users find a way, find a home and a place they can, stay and reform from using tobacco related products. But it's also a day when we appeal to policymakers to tackle certain issues that are affecting our young people in the country. And I'm talking about tobacco prevalence, taxation, illicit trade, so on and so forth. So let's try and understand these themes as the podcast goes on. My name is Idah, and this is the Kansas Smart Youth Podcast. Now, our theme this year for World No Tobacco Day, which falls on 31st May, is unmasking the appeal of tobacco products. So there are a number of things that, support the tobacco industry, a number of things that we are supposed to look at. So I will start with tobacco harm, because many of people use tobacco products, and this is your shisha, this is your cigarettes, your vapes and all that. These are all tobacco related products, and more than 60% of these people are actually young people. You and I know that the Zambia's population is mostly made up of young people. More than 70% of our population in Zambia is young people. But what's worrying is that people that are using more of these products are 39 years and below. The high rate is between 25 years and 39. But there are also young people in their teenage age now using tobacco even more, because there are these e-cigarettes, and sometimes a pupil as young as 15 maybe in class and using tobacco, and the teacher will not even notice. This is very worrying. So now let's talk about industry interference. Tobacco consumption and production causes avoidable illness and premature death, resulting in economic losses, widening socio-economic inequalities, and contributing to environmental degradation. Now, these illnesses include cancers, your TB, and just by virtue of you smoking, abusing these substances, you actually look more older than your actual age. So it makes your skin shrink, it makes your teeth look yellowish, darker or brownish, your hands will be brown, and it just a no, because hey, we all want to look forever 21. But you see, it's actually worrying for me as an individual, because sometimes when I meet my friends who were schoolmates back in primary school, when you look at them now, they actually look older than the actual age, but they have been abusing tobacco, they have been abusing mavolo, mashisha, maglu, mabostic, and all these substances, which is very bad. So let's bring it down to prevalence. So prevalence of tobacco use in Zambia. Overall, tobacco smoking, approximately 1 in every 10 people aged between 25 and 35 years in Zambia smoke cigarettes. Yeah. You see how young people are being staged or somehow tricked, to start using tobacco. And I'm going to tell you this quote, and I'll display it on the screen. You will see it, and it's very worrying. This is one of the worst quotes that I've ever come across in my life. And this says, students are tremendously loyal. If you catch them young, they will stick to you like glue. This is by Philip Morris executive. Yeah. Now, in our country, I'm sure most of us have seen how these cigarettes are being, advertised near schools, and they'll be put at an eyesight in these shops for children. And in this kiosk, we have even seen in supermarkets, tobacco products, they'll be put at a kiosk and you won't even have to line up in that longer queue for you to buy, because they are put at, you know, at behind, maybe behind the main cashiers, where you just buy and off you go. And when marketing them, even just in these foreigners shops, they will be put at an eyesight for children to make sure that children see them, and they'll be put next to candies, next to sweets, next to biscuits, next to even little toys for children. And you know, this is illicit trade that should actually be tackled, you know. And like I started when I was saying, to say it's also an appeal to policymakers to put measures on how such issues are marketed. So when it comes to illicit trade, you know, illicit can be any practice or conduct which is prohibited by law and relates to production, shipment, receipt, possession, distribution, sale or purchase of a product, including any practice or conduct intended to facilitate such an activity. And these tobacco products are actually very cheap. You'll find a cigarette as cheap as 15 ngwee. And these cigarettes are actually very cheap. You'll find a cigarette stick as cheap as 15 ngwee, as cheap as 1 kwacha. Really? It's like you're encouraging people to take these products, you know. But one measure that the government, the policymakers can actually do is to consider taxation. So taxation is one of the most effective methods of increasing the price of tobacco products, reducing affordability and reducing quantity demanded and consumption, while also increasing government revenue. If tax is expensive for tobacco industry, meaning even their price will increase. Instead of selling one stick at 1 kwacha, it will probably be sold at 10 kwacha, and meaning more young people will not afford to buy cigarettes. Now, bringing it back home and putting a face to what I've just spoken about, we are going to visit one of a rehab center in Lusaka, run by someone who was actually an addict. And this is no other than Daniel. So join me as I visit Sanity House and learn how Daniel moved from this to that. Come with me to Sanity House. So like I said earlier on, that we're going to visit a home away from home, and this is no other than Sanity House. And right next to me is the man behind this facility. So it's not about me right now, it's about him. So hi, Mr. Daniel.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So what's your full name?
Daniel Mbazima.
Daniel Mbazima.
Yeah.
Daniel Mbazima. Who is Daniel Mbazima? You know, people are curious. My people are curious to know who you are.
So Daniel Mbazima is a pastor's child. So people always laugh whenever I say that, because you know what comes with being a pastor's child. So yeah, I am him. Yeah, so pastor's child, I happen to be a recovering addict and a recovering alcoholic, which meant that I struggled with addiction for some time. I am a public health specialist by profession, and I happen to be the founder of Sanity House Rehabilitation Center, which works and helps people that are struggling with substance abuse as well as mental health related issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. So now let's go back a little bit. We won't get into the whys of why you started and all that, because I mean people have got different reasons, right? So what kind of substance were you using, and where were you found?
I'm known as an all-rounder, which means I was on a bunch of many other things. Yeah. If you caught me earlier, I talked about being an addict and an alcoholic. So I did struggle with alcohol for some time, and then I didn't really like the taste and the hangovers and blah blah blah. Then I moved to heroin. I moved to heroin. Then from heroin I moved to marijuana. Then I was on cocaine. I did a bunch of prescription pills, including diazepam and ecstasy. And yeah, I was pretty much an all-rounder. So I was the type of person that could use anything regardless of what it was for the purposes of getting high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you started using these substances?
I started experimenting with alcohol when I was in high school, but effectively when it became full-blown around 21. Yeah.
Around 21.
Yeah.
And were you in university or? Okay, so
yes, I was in university actually.
Did peer pressure contribute?
No.
It didn't.
It was curiosity for me. Yeah, I just wanted to know the test and know how it feels. And it was mainly curiosity. I wasn't the type to be influenced by other people. I was the type to do the
influence.
Yeah. That's how it was.
Okay. All right. Okay, I see. And then how did you relate with family, friends at 21? Were you in a relationship? How was that?
In the beginning, it was for fun. So I was actually able to use drugs as to get high and continue with school. 4 years down the line, that's when it became visible. That's when the problems became seen. That's when it became obvious. But even then, I was still managing because I was still in school. I think in my 5th year, that's when the real issues came in, where I got expelled from 2 universities. And after missing out on those opportunities, I was back, and I looked at my friends, people I was with in school. They had graduated. I was studying medicine, by the way. Yeah, so they had graduated. People were doing internship. People that did the 4-year courses, at least they were able to pick themselves up in that time. And now I was in a space where I started looking at my friends. You know, this one's working, this one's driving, this one's got a business, this one's getting married. You know. This one is getting promoted, and all these things that were going on with other people began to stress me. So it was no longer the addiction now, it moved into depression, and combining those two made it really, really rough. And it had a toll on my family. Imagine as a pastor's child, and you're the firstborn, and you end up getting addicted to substances. Yeah, so it was heavy on them.
And people talk, I can imagine, mwana wa pastor, mamona, shani. Did it have an effect on the church?
Yes, it did. Because I remember there are times when my dad would tell me, look, it's embarrassing. I can't speak in front and talk about the problems that youths are going on when my own child is struggling with this thing. And it was really, really heavy for him. There are moments when he actually, contemplated putting everything on hold for the purpose of getting me right and then him getting back, but he still held on. So it did have an effect. And obviously, there were some people that entered into certain vices because they saw it from me. And it did have an impact overall.
Okay. Were you staying at home with your parents throughout this journey?
Yeah, I was staying at home, but I would disappear. So for 3 years, my life was in 3 places. It was either jail, Chiwolia, or Chainama. So that's pretty much where I was. So there are times when I would leave, I would go, I was in Chiwolia for some time. If it was in Chiwolia, it was Chainama. If it was in Chainama, it was jail. So it was a whole cycle. I would actually leave home for like maybe a year, 2 years.
Okay. And in Chiwolia, you'd be with friends, or you could sleep just anywhere you were safe, or like where did you really stay?
They're right there in Chiwolia, because I was with a bunch of other people who were going through the same challenges, and they also were nursing each other's wounds, in short, so we would be found there, and that's where we stayed for some time.
Let's talk about the money issues. Where did you get money to buy all these stuff, because we are not working?
So I sold off all my stuff. That was the beginning. Sold off all my stuff. Then
clothes,
I started everything above 1 kwacha had to go. So I sold off my stuff. Then I started stealing stuff from home. And after that, I started manipulating pretty much anybody I knew, from church members to people that I grew up with. And after everybody caught up with that, then I started stealing from other people as well. And then it moved me to begging on the streets. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. So for me, it was either begging or selling plastics. I wasn't the type that was like robbing people and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Okay.
Not that,
Okay. And the turning point?
Turning point was when it became suicidal, and I just got tired of living, because when it comes to substance abuse, there are three phases. There is the fun part, then there is the abuse part, then there is the dependency part. Yeah. So at some
the fun
point,
part is like as you are starting.
Yeah, as you're starting, it's fun, because truth is there's nothing that can make you feel as happy as drugs can on earth. Yeah, scientifically it's there. There's nothing that can give you that sort of euphoria when it's compared to drugs, but unfortunately it's a short while. Yeah, so it moved to dependency, and it was very, very bad, in the point where I was suicidal, and I just got tired of everything. Yeah, so I remember, I remember after hitting an overdose, and I just got woke up by the cowboys, the Caponians. Yeah, those are guys who picked me up, and my mom so happened to have been looking for me. That's the first time she had seen me in like 8 months. Yeah, so I went home, and I tried to work on myself by myself, but it was very, very hard. Yeah, up until a year after I checked into rehab, and that was the turning point for me. Yeah.
Okay. Which rehab did you go to?
So I went to rehab in Zimbabwe, because in Zambia we didn't have any rehabs then. Yeah. So which is where the motivation for all this came from. So I had tried. I had gone to China. My record about 16 times during my period. So it was where I was looking for help, but I couldn't actually really look at the help, because by then we never had such facilities. Yeah. So I had to. Somebody from the church connected me there. Did 4.5 months, and that was it. That was my turning point.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. So now let's talk about Sanity House. So now, when you went to this rehab in Zimbabwe, that's after being at Chainama, which is a government facility, for a couple of times. And I believe sometimes Chainama is like over-congested, because I mean it's one of the few that rehab that government has to offer. So now when you went to Zimbabwe, you are back here, changed pace in. How did you gain the trust that you had lost, especially at home with your mom, your dad, your siblings, your close friends? Because obviously when people see you, like, obviously he will ask for some money, obviously he's going to steal my phone, obviously. So like when you're home, everyone will hide their appliances. But when you came back, how did you make them believe or regain the trust that they had in you?
It was easier for me, because my family was supportive throughout.
Oh, great.
And those are some of the challenges that we face right now, because people don't come from supporting families. Yeah, so my family was very, very supportive. My parents had read more about addiction before they had actually checked me into rehab. They did family therapy, and they knew how to take me on after, especially my dad. He had read about all these things, and he was deeply invested in everything. Yeah, so they knew how to treat me when things were going off wrong. They knew to say, we're dealing with a person who's restarting their life all over again. We're dealing with a person who's struggling with low self-esteem, because they are severely depressed. So my sisters were also very supportive. Even when I was going back to school, they kept encouraging me. So it was easier like that. And all I had to do was just stay sober. I had to prove to myself, of course, I had lost all trust. But what helped me was avoiding the places that I used to go to, avoiding the people I used to mingle with, and I changed the things that I used to do. So like that, it became easier and better for me.
Okay. Let's now bring it here. Sanity House. I know one of the motivation was because of what you went through and not having enough rehabs in Zambia. And so how did the idea begin for Sanity House? What is Sanity House? What happens over here?
So Sanity House is a rehabilitation facility that offers help to people struggling with substance abuse, as well as mental health related problems. The motivation behind Sanity House came from me seeing what was going on. I lost a number of friends due to substance abuse. I have 3 friends that are serving long-term sentences in prison because of substance abuse-related cases. I have some friends that, have gone totally insane because of substances. And I saw the gap and I said, okay, this is something that I wanted to do. But the beauty in everything is it's kept me sober over the years because I have people that I'm overseeing and I have people that I'm helping, and that in turn has really, really helped me as well. So 80% of our staff are people in recovery, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have people who've gone through our program and are working for Sanity House. My co-founder also struggled with substance abuse, a good friend, Mr. Chris, and pretty much everybody else. So besides just work, we are people that are working the whole recovery program together. And we strengthen each other as well as our clients. That's pretty much what we do.
So it's a family.
It's a family type of thing, yeah. Besides that, we're also found in the communities themselves. We're found in Chivolia. We have connections to people that are struggling with addiction that's in other areas around Lusaka, from Chainda to Matero to Mutendere. We also have another center that's in Livingstone, in an area called Malota. So we are on the ground as far as substance abuse is concerned.
All right, okay. You're doing a great job because really there's a lot of addiction when you go around these places. I know personally of Mutendere. A lot of youth are using Volo and all that, and it's really sad. So then, how did you find this place, and how did you design the programs that happen here? How do you get to enroll people here?
Okay, so the program was designed for a person struggling with addiction, specifically a Zambian. What we have here might not work in another country. Of course, we use the universal program, but we followed and tailored it for the Zambian addict. That was one of the biggest strengths that was there, because when I was in Zimbabwe, I learned a couple of things that were working for them, but we had to tailor it for Zambians. And besides that, we offer a home-like environment. So all our rehab centers are more of home-like. It's a home-like environment. What we avoid is the notion that rehab should be like prison, or like rehab should be a place where people need to be working and laboring and kept busy. The notion is supposed to be a home-like environment where a person struggling with an addiction knows to say, okay, I can get my life together again. When you look at people struggling with addiction, it all comes from trauma. These are people who come from either broken families, people who are bullied, people who are abused, people that struggle with low self-esteem. So when you look at the drugs and the alcohol, those are things that they take on, and that's pretty much a behavior. Behind that behavior, there are causes and conditions of why a person is using. So those are the things that we mainly focus on at Sanity House. We focus on the causes and the conditions. We don't say, we don't focus on what's going to happen to a person if they continue using drugs, if they continue drinking. Everybody knows that. It's either rehab, jail, prison, or death. We don't focus on that. So instead of answering the question what, we focus on why is the person using, why are they going back to find comfort in this substance. So that's how our program is designed.
Okay, impressive. So you said you've got 3 centers. The one where we are here in Lusaka, Chivolia and Livingston. Could you just give addresses for these in case there are people who may want to access them? Okay,
so our female center is in Jesmondin. The 2 rehab centers, the 2 male rehab centers are in Mutumbi. We have a one center that's in Chivolia and another one in Malota area in Livingstone.
Okay, all right, okay. And one of the struggles of people to go in rehab are funds. How much do you charge? Is it per quarter? Is it per month? What's the duration period for a full program?
Okay, so our prices range from 3,500 to 8,500. That's monthly.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have different packages. Some of them include food, accommodation, and therapy, and some of them go up to 8,500 because of the medication. So unfortunately, we are not in charge of medication. We have to outsource for that. And cases to do with substance abuse are a bit on the costly side.
For sure.
So from time to time, we have people that come on board to sort of offer some sort of help, and that lessens the burden on families. But those are within the price ranges that we offer.
Okay, and ages?
So for ages for now, we deal with 18 and above.
18 and above.
Yeah.
So the youngest you've had is 18.
We've had people younger than that, but those were under different circumstances. Yeah, we just had to compromise, but we prefer with 18 and above. For the young ones, they deserve a package that is specifically tailored for teenagers.
Yeah.
So we work with the sister rehab where they are specifically only targeting teenagers. So we work hand in hand with them. Yeah.
All right, okay. So today is World Not Tobacco Day, and you know this is commemorated globally, and this year it's, the theme is unmasking the appeal of tobacco products. So what would you have to say about this theme?
As Zambia, we need to work hard as far as that is concerned, yeah, because we still have many vices that are allowed. And I must say there is a correlation between substance abuse as well as cancer. When we look at certain cancers such as lung cancer, 80% of them are related to cigarettes, and which is linked to addiction. If we look at liver cancer as well as some mouth cancers, most of them are linked to substance abuse, mainly alcohol, the codeines, and pretty much everything else. So we really need to pull our socks up, because like you said earlier, the whole substance abuse situation is getting out of hand now. Actually, 100 meters from wherever you are in Lusaka, you can get your hands on alcohol. That's how serious it is. 75% of cases in disciplinary, 75% of disciplinary cases in universities and schools have to do with substance abuse. That's how serious it is. Right now, every family has got a person struggling with substance abuse. And at the rate we are going, in 2 years' time, maybe we'll have 2 people per family. Then we'll have 3 people, because that's how bad it is. So there are a number of factors that contribute into this. I mean, it's easier to get your hands on tobacco anywhere. It's mainly as a result of regulatory rules and regulations. So those are some of the things that we really need to consider. And I think we need to strengthen the message in schools. Because we've back in the day, you know, we had things such as, you know, drug club and whatnot and everything. Those things have disappeared now.
They're not there.
Yeah, we're mainly talking about mental health and entrepreneurship, which are good, but we are not focusing much on substance abuse as well as things such as, you know, tobacco and whatnot. And out of experience, tobacco and alcohol are the ones that people easily get into and easily get introduced into alcohol. Why? Because in schools we have this message of don't do drugs, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. The message is, oh, alcohol is okay, tobacco is okay, as long as it's just a drug. So when we're talking about drugs, we're talking about marijuana, heroin. Those are the ones that the young ones know. So in their minds, they have this notion, oh, tobacco is okay, I can smoke a cigarette, it's not a drug. Oh, alcohol is okay, I can drink, it's not a drug really. So the split messages that we have really need to change. But also on the good hand, we are now in a society where people are talking about these things, and we are able to see them on social media. I mean, a couple of years when my story came out, people were laughing. But now we're able to freely share stories of people in recovery, and you can see how people are warming up to that and believing that it's possible. So society is changing, and we're embracing change as far as, you know, all these are concerned. So in line with World Tobacco Day today, the theme sounds right. Yeah. It exposes both the positives and the negatives. Okay,
so I know there's someone who is watching right now and they want to try out, let's say, heroin, and they just say, okay, I just want to try it. It could just be once. I just feel how people feel. What did you say?
Don't do it. Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. It's absolutely not worth it. That's the thing. Yeah, it's absolutely not worth it. There is nothing you can gain from drugs and alcohol, sadly. Especially for a person who's got an addictive personality. It's going to ruin your life, and very few people come back from it. So my advice is don't do it. Whatever problem you have that may make you feel like drinking or using drugs, what happens is today you can use and you can drink. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, the problem is bigger and you are weaker. So yeah, it's absolutely not worth it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This is so informative. I know we can go on and on because it's such an interesting topic that we have today. So you have heard it for yourself. Don't try. If you're pressured, if you're peer pressured, or you just want to try drugs, don't do it, because once you are hooked, it's not easy to come out. I hope you have learned one or two things from Daniel's story. Now, we have learned that it's actually possible to stop using drugs. It's actually possible for you to stop using these tobacco-related products. Now, I understand that addiction comes in many forms. Some of us are addicted to a particular type of food. Some of us are addicted to a particular type of drink. And some people are addicted to pornography, and some are addicted to tobacco products. We have just seen a successive story shared by Daniel that it is actually possible for you to refrain from using tobacco products, for you to refrain from any addiction that you may have. I am sure we are all aware about the Tobacco Control Bill in Zambia, which aims to strengthen tobacco control measures and align with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, FCTC, which is currently under discussion and has faced some delays. This bill seeks to reduce tobacco use, protect public health, and fulfill Zambia's obligation under the World Health Organization. Now, I've got an appeal to the policymakers, I've got an appeal to the government to help pass the Tobacco Control Bill, which is going to save a lot of lives. It's going to save Zambia, and it's going to put a lot of measures, and we're going to have the Zambia that we all imagine. Thank you.
I'm breaking the silence. I'm breaking the silence.
Let's go get her. So forget the sirens. I'm just another brother trying to break the silence.
Feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms at Zambian Cancer Society: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. You should also subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. Contact us on 0976 659914.